Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Crypto Night Show. Your host Superman in the house, and we're going to do a bit of a weekly crypto market update. So I hope you guys enjoy that. And of course, we're going to highlight our showcase that we've been showcasing this week, which is the launch of the very high yield farm, the EMIT farm, which is launched earlier today. In fact, how many hours ago was it? Probably about maybe what's it, about 8 hours ago, something like that. So very, very, very exciting. So we're going to get into all those details. High yield farm during the current market climate. Pretty cool opportunity. And a big shout out to Kairos and the team there. I think done a pretty brilliant job. So fantastic there. We're going to get into all the details on that. So stay tuned. But we're going to get into obviously crypto markets and see why the market went down as well. We're going to look at that analysis also. So hope you guys enjoy the show. Big shout out to everybody over on Rumble. You guys are crushing it over there. Appreciate all your follows and everything like that. So if you are new to the channel, smash the follow button, hit the like button, and get into the chat and get lively in there as well. And of course, over on YouTube, also really loving the community. A big shout out. About 11,000 subscribers, so really enjoying all your support. Now, if you want to join our Discord, the Discord link in the video, so $12.50 for the community Discord. We've got about 1,100 awesome people in there, and we have a really hardcore crew, so get in there and become part of our crew. Now, we're going to have a big announcement coming up too. That you guys are going to love to isolate crypto opportunities. You guys are going to want to join that soon, so definitely follow the channel so you don't miss out on that, right? So that's coming up soon, and it's going to be a community thing that we're doing, which is going to be very, very cool. A lot of people are going to flock to that, so it's going to be a lot of fun. And that was brand new. Now, I hope you guys enjoying your weekend, of course. So without further ado, let's get into the chat. Then we've got Only Crypto in the house. Hey, good to see you, Only Crypto. Big shout out to you. I saw you in the EMIT Farm Telegram or during the last night, I think it was. Now, the launch was like in the middle of the morning, my time in New Zealand. So it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock, something like that. It was pretty difficult for me to get up and watch it, but I did. I was with a couple of people in the Discord watching that, so it was kind of cool. And Telegram too, so not bad. So we're going to talk about that too. So let's get into the show without further ado. And let's go for gold there. So it might be a little bit slow today after that late night, but hey, that's just the way it goes, right? This is the weekend after all. No, I didn't go clubbing, of course. I didn't go clubbing, but it's just some things we do. So anyway, at the moment we got Bitcoin still, selling down. So what did we have last week? Just to recap. So last week we had the stock market. We had Monday and Tuesday were very green bullish days. Then we had Wednesday, Thursday, Friday really sell off. We had slightly higher inflation news, right? We had more tariffs from Trump as he's reorganizing things. Now, we know that a lot of the stuff he's doing is going to be very important, short-term pain for medium, long-term gain. But unfortunately for the markets, it unsettles the markets given classical tariff, liberal ideology. But of course, he's shaking all that up, right? And so we're going to be seeing a lot of things like that. Now, I suspect that when we get a lot of worse things coming up on the 2nd of April, we've got reciprocal tariffs coming up. So that's only, 3 days away. And so when we get reciprocal tariffs, that may very well be the end. And I'm suspecting that we're going to get a lot of funds flowing into crypto, and it will be counterintuitive, right? So I think that's kind of where we're going. And we have covered all those drivers, right? We've covered the institutions, we've covered the US states that are all trying to get into crypto. We've been following Michael Saylor and many of the other big holders of Bitcoin that are very bullish about crypto and are telling people to hold the line. So I think that's kind of cool. Now, we've seen in previous markets in 21, we saw the shakeout, just like it looks very similar to what we've got now. And then, of course, we get the big rally, right? And that takes a lot of people off guard. So going to be kind of fun to see that. Now, obviously, we can't predict the future, any influence that's talking about crypto. But we're going based on how history rhymes, right? And if we see some of those shakeouts, they're normally pretty brutal, and then we get the big rally again, right? So I'm still expecting the 150 to 250K in 2025, and who knows, with an upside chance of 400, but definitely 150 to 250 seems very, very likely, and we've seen most of the top analysts talk about that price range as well. So I'm still feeling pretty confident about that. And we know that, with a bit of pain, Trump's going to usher in the golden age of America. And that's going to be good for the world over the next 4 years. Now it might take 9 months or at least to start really kicking in, although we have seen some early benefits of that already, like the lower prices of eggs and things like that. So it's not too bad. Lots of investment, right? Lots of investment in AI and manufacturing and everything else. So Trump's plan's playing out. All right, we got $83,000 of Bitcoin, down 2%. Bitcoin dominance is 60.1%. OMG. So obviously, in the last bull market, we had the market, we had it at 70% before we got altcoin season, and I don't think we're going to get that high. I mean, it's possible, but I just don't think we are. And I think we're just because of the structural changes and maturity and technology and the number of tokens around the investment vehicles and things like that, just makes it unlikely. But it's always possible. But I think that we're probably closer to altcoin season, and maybe April will be the time, right? That's going to be pretty cool. We got Wookie in the house there. Wookie is always here. Hey, good to see you, Wookie. Late nights is Super's kryptonite. Yeah, definitely is my kryptonite, that's for sure. You summed that up very, very nice as well. Hey, only crypto, I see your comments, but when we get to the EMIT, when I cover EMIT, we'll get into all of that. So if you want to hold off your EMIT questions until that time, that'd be great. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. Let's have a look at Ethereum. We're down 3.86% on Ethereum, which is kind of the kicker, right? Because obviously Ethereum is the main EVM chain there. Of course, everything was copied off that pretty much, all the second layer protocols on top of Ethereum. And so it's a little bit weird to see it under 2,000. Has underperformed versus Bitcoin as well. It has not taken out its previous all-time high in 2021. So it's got a bit of work to do. Some of its own technological innovations have actually undermined its value, but benefited second layer protocols. So we've kind of seen a little bit of that. And it's got another fork coming up, which is going to lower gas prices again. So it's great for utility, and probably maybe a bit better off if it does get the peaks. That being said, it still has a lot of institutional backing, right? So I still think it's going to do pretty well. We got BNB is down 2.4% at $606. And of course, BNB's very closed chain. We see Binance, really you either pay to get on there, or really they don't like anything that's non-Binance-y, so a bit of stuff they're going on there. Solana there down 4.4%. ADA down 5% there. It's nice and red. You can see that, pretty red. Tron, though, is up actually a little bit. So we've got a little bit of green there for Tron, 23.4 cents, up at 30%. XRP down 3.3 at $22.13. Litecoin there is down 2.4%, and SU down 8% there on the chart. So that's kind of where we are on there. Now let's jump over to Bitcoin and see where that is, because that's kind of imagine Bitcoin being a bit like the ocean, right? It's a bit like the ocean, and all the other cryptos are like ships on it, right? So maybe some of the cryptos are little seas, maybe seas as well. Who knows? Use your analogy. We've got the 200-day is the orange line. That's the long-term average, the 200-day. And then we've got the 50-day there is the short-term. That's the 50-day in yellow. And of course, we're in a golden cross, so it's a bullish environment, right? So we've been in that for some time. You can see we've been in that. We almost got a death cross back here in September, but we have managed to go higher and higher. This here could be that final shakeout, right, before we move to the next level and really start taking out the $108,000 Bitcoin that we had all the way back here on the 20th of January, right? It doesn't feel that long ago, does it? But that's when we were up at that glorious level. And so we are down pretty significantly from that. We're down, how far down? We're down about 25%, and that's 27,000 US dollars. Isn't that crazy? That's crazy. And here we are, 82. But I think we're still at a very good level. Like I say, this might be close to the shakeout there. We had some good support here at 76,000. And, I had mine targeted at 72, 73. Some people had it all the way back down to 63. I don't think we're going to head there. Although if we did, it'd be pretty extremely brutal as we waterfall down all the way down there. But I still think that once we come out through April, there's a good chance that we'll get a lot of capital coming in there. But we will see. That is kind of what I'm expecting, and that would be counterintuitive to the reciprocal tariffs that people are expecting. But like I say, we potentially have a lot of capital coming in there. Now, so we've avoided a death cross at the moment, but it is closing up. The gap's not very big, right? So the gap is closed down to about $900. No, it's not $900. So my bad. 3,000, just under $3,000, I think it is. Yeah, 2,900 maybe. And so we've got that bit of a gap, and we want obviously a bit of recovery so that we can take off there. But I think the next couple of days could be quite brutal, just ending into the 2nd of April. That would take us into Wednesday, right? Wednesday, the 2nd of April there. And then maybe we'll start coming out of there. So we might get a double bottom, possibly 78, maybe. That's possible. before we take off there. So let's see where that heads. But we definitely want to avoid that death cross because that might take us all the way down to 63. The bearish scenario. Let's call it the bearish scenario. On the bullish scenario, we're going to start tracking back up there into the second quarter of this year, April to June, right? April to June. All right, so that's kind of where we are at the moment. Let's jump over to crypto on the CoinGecko. So we're at 2.76 trillion, down 4% for the week. For the day, down 4%, 2.76 trillion. And we can see the ranks there at the moment. We've got Bitcoin at number 1, Ethereum there at number 2. We've got XRP at number 3, BNB at number 4 there, Solana at number 5, and at number 6 spot there. We've got Dogecoin at number 8, Cardano at number 9, and Tron at number 10. And of course, for the week, we can see the best performer for the week, Kronos. Can you believe it? Kronos, the best, up 26.3%. That's the best out of the top 100. And then, of course, the next second one is actually number 100. It's the second best at up 9.8%. So not a lot of action in the top leaderboard there. And then finally, Maker there. And of course, we've seen a lot of drama on Pulse Chain about PDI Maker. That is sitting as the third best performer in the top 100, up 4.7%. Gives you an idea of what's going on there at the moment. So that is some of the cool ones going on at the moment. As at the moment, we've got also some trending ones there. Movement's been trending, Sue, as well, and Walrus there. Now, interesting movement. I think the Trump Foundation, investment vehicle has a lot of movement tokens. That's pretty interesting. It's down 11% at the moment. So pretty crazy stuff going on there. All right, so that is where we are on that. Let's check into this article and see, whether it's got any insights about why we've gone down here. So why is the crypto market down today? Bitcoin drops to 82K as traders flee risk assets amid macro worries. Crypto market sees over $300 million in liquidations as investors flee risk ahead of April policy changes and over concerning macroeconomic data. Let's Bitcoin dropped 3% in 24 hours. $300 million. Gold-backed tokens like PACG and XAUT gained amid volatility. We've seen gold be the beneficiary, right? We saw that last week. That gold got the beneficiary, particularly on Friday there, when we saw the markets really pull back on the stock market. Gold was rallying there towards 3,100, right? So pretty cool. And no doubt in crypto too, right? So let's jump here. So we've got the broader cryptocurrency market represented by CoinDesk 2020 index, lost about 3.3% of its value over the period. A sharp drop brings BTC's performance down 1.7% for the week, while the CD20 is down nearly 5%. So a pretty heavy move there. Let me just get rid of that Sailor video there. So over the last 24 hours, $300 million worth of long positions were liquidated. So long positions are people betting and leveraging that the market will go up in price, right? As opposed to short positions where people are betting that the price will go down in price. Now, you can actually access that offering on the Pulse chain using, I just had it in my head. What was it? Famous, that's it, Famous. So Famous is a fork of GMX. So Famous is a fork. See, I told you when you get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, it does affect your mind. So it's a bit like military training, I think. But Famous is a fork of GMX and allows you to leverage up to 30x leverage on Pulse Chain. It's a very niche product. We've seen about 1,000 wallets so far since Pulse Chain launched over the last 670 days use it. So it's a pretty niche product, but we may see more evolutions of that product on Pulse Chain for leverage. So we'll see how that goes. Sometimes when we get the markets really dashing, sometimes people take on more risk. Some generally we have a risk off, but then we get this part of the market takes more risk, right? So let's see to try and get the yields up, right? So the drop appears to be a part of a wider de-risking amongst the traders. Investors anticipate the impact of President Trump's reciprocal tariffs, which I've talked about. The move highlighted after core personal consumption expenditures. That's the price indicator the Fed looks at. Was hotter than expected. It was only slightly hotter, but it's enough at the moment. Just this week, consumer confidence data dipped further as well. Remember, the US is 2/3 of its GDP, which is about 27.8 trillion, is in consumption. US is the big consumer of the world, right? 20% of GDP of the world. While the index for future expectations came in at 12-year low and well below levels associated with incoming recession, the confluence of factors has seen investors reduce their exposure to risk assets and triggered a flight to safety. So that's kind of what we're seeing there. CoinDesk data, latest stablecoin report shows that gold-backed cryptocurrencies have benefited from the risk-off move as their market capitalization climbed above 1.4 billion in March. gold-backed cryptocurrencies are in fact countering the market's bearish trend, while the CD20 is down over 3% for the last 24 hours. It's starting to look, when you get these indicators, right, it starts to look more and more like stock market, doesn't it? Because, and it probably will be, we're still quite early in crypto, so we've still got high volatility and mad gains, like, high performing there. But over time, it will slowly, that volatility will slowly reduce as the markets mature and more people come into them, and get fatter liquidity and stuff like that. So that's probably a longer term trend. So that is the markets for the week. I hope you guys enjoyed that coverage. And we're going to get into Pulse Chain. We'll do that too. So Pulse Chain there, and let's change it up. Let's change it up a little bit and move into Pulse Chain. And bam. So let's go big screen. Let's go big screen on that. And we can see that when I go big screen, I've got to make sure that I'm not blocking things. We got day 687. I think I said day 670, 670. We're on day 687. Let me say. Now, Pulse Chain, of course, having some systemic issues around the PDI maker with the exploit, right? So being able to mint lots of PDI and dumping it back into dumping it back out and out of the system. It's kind of been the fear there. So that's imagine a big system of Pulse Chain. It's been a leakage, right? So something like, I think, maybe 6 to 10 billion, depending on which numbers you're using, and then suddenly minted up to like 26 billion. That's kind of the issue there. So I'm not sure how much of that is actually filtered out, but probably millions of dollars based on what we've seen there. Now, we'd also saw some video footage of James Maria, the super dev that set up a Troper and teddy bear and things like that. End up have a little clip where he talked about the fact that of a Vietnamese programmer called Mr. Dong, and so there could be a double game playing there with that. So the plot thickens with the old PDI maker theory. I think fundamentally, though, it is flawed. So the four main things. One, of course, the Maker Oracle does have an internal Oracle, but in 2021, it introduced on the Ethereum side, it introduced the Chainlink Oracle to improve its median prices. And of course, I think Alex McFurter out there, the founder of Acosa and Hedron, has done some beautiful write-ups on that, and also in a X Space last night was doing some good commentary on that. So I think that's a big problem. I think even if you did replay all the transactions in that protocol, you'd still have a problem with historical prices because we have had no Oracle, we've had no feeders that are fed into that. We only recently got the Fetch Oracle launching about 2 weeks ago. We've got the Signum Oracle going to be launching on the 11th of April. So we will have 2 Oracles that project teams can use for that. So I think that's got a big issue there. Obviously, we've got the exploiter, which is a massive issue. And of course, we've also got problems with inside the internal Oracle with the fixed price ratio. So, and Alex McFitter's covered that in pretty full. So, and also we don't know who's going to control the maker. Who are they going to have good intentions? Are they going to have bad intentions? And of course, Richard Hart's also talked about this is too big an issue. Just get out of it. Let's squeeze out the liquidity, close down the LP pools, and also get all the project teams that have been coupled to it, like SolidX, like PDGC, and like Atropa, all that sort of things, to decouple from those liquidity pools. Now, that's been moderately successful, but however, there's still quite large, still quite large in the DAI pulse pair, and we still see people trading it. Now, people are going to trade crypto, and a PDI had a big community, and a lot of people talk about it, right? So we've still got that. So that's kind of fed into the systemic issue, and Pulse Chain has sold off, right? In addition to obviously the wider market selling down as well. But the big move has been around those issues there. Now, obviously, we've seen the Mr. Dong and the Tropa Dev, sending crypto back over the bridge. So that's also spooked the market as well as systemic issue there. But Rich has been doing his best to try and ring fence that issue. And but a big part of the community listens. Part of the community doesn't listen. And we've also got influencers out there, pushing their own perspectives, and I'll leave that up for you to decide on what you think about all those. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. So Pulse is down 25%, Quadruple 0214, and like I say, when there's fear on the streets, potentially a chance to pick up a super amount of a Pulse Chain. Once again, always trying to find the bottom is always the trick. But obviously, I'm a big Pulse Chain believer, regardless of the systemic issues. Obviously, we've had since over the 687 days and before the launch, we've had a lot of issues, and that's that's just the way it's been. probably 20 or so issues, something like that, that have been negative for the chain. We've had a few positives. And of course, recently, one of the big positives was the victory in the SEC. And we've still got that to play out with the 30-day extension. So we'll probably get that coming up soon in a few weeks. So let's look forward to seeing that play out. And, if Richard's lawyers, Richard's lawyers can deal with the Interpol and the red notice and make a deal, then we may see, Richard maybe come back streaming again, and Pulse Chain will just go on fire, right? Because people, there's no influencer out him in crypto like him. Now, two things, of course. He during the fallout after the bull market last time, he called out all the big centralized protocols and stuff like that. They all went down, and he was the best in the crypto at calling those. And as I would say, so there's a lot of opportunity coming ahead as well. Now, obviously, we're going to have to wait for the Magic Carp ride because it's probably down over 50%, maybe 60% at the moment. So we're going to have to wait till the markets rally, ETH rallies into this big bull market that we are seeing ahead. And I've still seen no change in that. I've still got no change in that because we're used to these really negative moments in crypto. So I'm not surprised. So PulseX at the moment is quadruple 0179, down 30%. So huge opportunity there at the moment. Only 18% of the mean sacrifice price. The buy and burn is still ticking away, right? So 1.35 trillion still ticking away there at the moment. And we've got the incentive token, $1.12 is down 25%. The ratio is still pretty strong, though, 52,700. That's pretty interesting, right? So obviously, that's just moving down with the pulse price. And of course, we've got very low inflation, 55 million there. So we did see a couple of moves by Richard Hart around inflation, right? Cutting hex inflation with the OA sacrifice wallets, and then also cutting incentive token inflation. So there was a bit of a move, bit of a signal there about potential value. But what that did was thin out liquidity pools as well. And that's played a big role in this move down also, right? So not only systemic issues around Peter Maker and, all the other things I just mentioned earlier, but also the thinning out of liquidity pools, right, and the farms. They're particularly for the Richard Hart peers, right? So there's a, double whammy there. Now, what does that mean? If you buy low and you sell high, you buy when there's fear on the streets, blood on the streets, then you've got the opportunity to get the big upside on the rebound. That's kind of where I'm heading with this, is that with thin liquidity, you're going to be able to go down pretty fast on a negative environment, but you can move up pretty fast too. So it's just a matter of keeping a lookout on the charts there and trying to pick off the lows. Now, is it today? It's a good chance. You can always DCA if you're not quite sure. And of course, you can always look at your charts and see. Now, we're going to have a look at the Pulse Chain price on the charts in a minute, but let's leave it there at the stage. We've got Hex at the moment at just under half a penny. Can you believe you're getting in a Hex at the moment? So you could pick up 1 million Hex at the moment on Pulse Chain for $4,900, which is crazy. Only maybe 2 months ago, it was worth 31,000 or something, and you can get it 4,900 at the moment. So that's volatility in crypto for you. We're down 31% there at the moment. EHEX at the moment at 1,400 a penny. Man, I'm really actually quite bullish on EHEX, and it's only down at 1,400 a penny. So that's some crazy value there right now. That's what, $1,400 for 1 million, I think that is. So that's huge to get that. And so let's have a look at the gas prices. So gases at the moment have been through the roof, right? We've had this massive volatility. We've had over 300 million beats, or maybe even higher. At the moment, we've got 3.5 million, which is not too bad. I think anything under 4 or 5 million beats is not too bad. At the moment, we've got 3 cents for a PulseX swap. And of course, if you're playing the Pulse Mafia game, you know that gas prices have been a real pain in the butt. Because obviously I'm generally not playing when it's not over 5 million beats. So I definitely try to keep that down because it all adds up pretty quickly. We've got 48,600 active validators at the moment on Pulse Chain, so fully DeFi, so that's ticking away pretty nicely. And as David Feather says, getting a validator right now is so cheap. Like getting 32 million Pulse and becoming a validator is so pretty cool. And there's so many options. And I want to do a video on all the options of validating because I think that's pretty cool. Now, the bridge is our heartbeat. This is kind of our test. And we're sitting over 85 million last night. So yesterday when I was doing live stream, we're at 84.4 million at the moment. So we're still holding up pretty well. The DAI has not moved that much. I'm very happy about that, 24.5 million. So that's kind of consolidated there, and that's not really moving down. So that's a good sign. We've got the USDC at 16.4. Now, I never memorized these ones. I don't know. I think that still looks okay. We've got, obviously, ETH is down, or Bitcoin is down, and EHEX is down dramatically. So that's dragging us down as well, right? Those things dragging down. Now, Coaster's kind of been a bit of the saviors, so to speak. And it was at $9 million. Now it's up to $9.2 million. So And I saw somebody's analysis saying that, oh yeah, the UK and Canada or something, those people have left, but Americans are coming on with crypto. So how about that? That's pretty interesting. A little insight there. So that's pretty, I think, pretty cool. Now, obviously, we've got lots of stable coins on PulseChain, and as you guys know, I can't wait for PUSD ALGO. So looking at the bridged amounts, looks about 1.1 million bridged out, and over this period. So that's kind of where we are. Now, I wanted to jump over to the total market. So it looks like we got 27.8 million or $27.9 million in 24-hour volume. So it's on the modest side, and of course in the down market, we've got 367,000 transactions on PulseChain at the moment. And compared to the rest of the market, we're still sitting pretty nicely at number 5 on the deck screen list there. So it's not too bad. Now, we obviously with people with yields down on like Richard Hart coins and some of the better performing cryptos that are on PulseChain, people are taking more risks. So with more risks, you got to be careful with the contracts that you're going into. And you just never know what the taxes might be, siphoning off taxes, or what the safety of the contract will be as well. So that does increase the risk. So be careful out there. Put your careful hat on. And but at the moment, we've got a couple of tokens that have been there 4 hours and 1 hour. You sort of see what I mean. This OG Heart token that is up pretty hard at the moment on very small liquidity. But it's doing some decent volume there. We've got peer-to-peer up 130%. We've got that's been around for 18 days. The Bitcoin one here, this is obviously not a pump tires token, but it's up 47% today. USD Tether, there's been over a year as well. Some interesting weird stuff happening there, but that's a big rally, 37%. Just take care on that one though, because it may retrace hard. So just be careful there. Some really weird volumes going into that. That's pumped that. We've got ADA Cardano there. That's been around a month. So these ones here, these 4 here, Mars, Bitcoin, and Elon. These are all pump tire ones from the looks of it. They've all been around about a month. Now you have to confirm that, but that's typically what these look like. And they're all up about 25%. So they're doing a little, bit of good stuff there. What else? We got USDC as well, like USD Tether. There's no picture missing here, so I'm not sure why that is. But that's up 70%. So just take care on those ones. Check the contract is correct and everything. Tropa there is up 17%. Still matched with DAI, PDAI from the looks of it. So kind of weird. Missing the emblem here. I think that's been taken down. Those are up as well. What's the liquidity on those? Some weird liquidity there. So be careful on this one. It looks quite unusual there, so just take care as well. Staked ETH is up there, one of the PDAI maker tokens. That's up 11%, so that's doing pretty well. UFO and PDC still holding up there too at 10%. So that's kind of your ones that are performing over 10% over the last 24 hours trending. So it's kind of where we are there at the moment. Now, let's pick up the EMIT token and let's talk about EMIT. It's time to talk about EMIT now. EMIT, of course, the big farm that launched. So let's get into that. And we've got some questions about this, so we'll get into that now. All right, so this is the chart, and let's see. So the chart here is we've got the price currently. Let's have a look at it. Let's go to the hourly chart, and we can see the hourly chart there. This is when it really launched back here. And so it's been ticking away for how many hours since the liquidity really launched there? It's been pretty much running for 1 day and 4 hours, so 28 hours basically. And we had the launch back here, I think it was, in the morning. Let me just find the morning here, I think. Where's it back here? Is it this time? Was it this early? Maybe it was this early. Yeah, we were up here. I think the launch was about here. So around 2 o'clock in the morning, my time. So it was up. The price peaked here at about $2.43, and then it sold down here. So it scrolled down to about $1.05, and we're currently at $1.10 at the moment. So I've got a green little hourly candle as we speak, which is kind of cool. And I'm going to talk a few things about this because if in Telegram, let me just post this. Let me just find this. So if you haven't joined Telegram, I'll give you a link to join. And we'll put that in the chat there too. So if you want to join up here. And like I say, a lot of things are still on, right? So let me put this in here with the price. So EMIT. And I'm going to get to your question there, only crypto as well, in a minute. Telegram, so you can join here. And of course, you can become part if you get engaged and stuff like that. You can become part of the community airdrop points, which has got multiple benefits. There's multiple benefits there. One of them, if you can get airdrop tokens in Telegram every so often. The other one is you could get airdropped part of the big airdrop. 15% of the EMIT initial supply is getting airdropped. I think there's been 5 out of 15 of those. I think there's going to be 15 altogether. So that can be pretty good. And there's going to be benefits, other benefits coming up in the project. So pretty cool. Now, the founder of EMIT is Kairos, and he's been around for a long time in the community. He's already had a successful project, a big farm project, and this is a second one here at the moment. I think he's had an older one before that as well. But yeah, he's doing a job there. So that's a join up the Telegram as well. So get in there and ask questions about how to get in the community, things like that. Just ask Kairos for that and stuff like that. So kind of cool. Now we're at $1.10 here, so obviously we didn't get a big runaway in the price, but we've got a pretty solid price here at $1.10, so it's doing pretty well, and we're going to talk about that. So at the moment in Telegram, there is a competition going, and that competition is for the biggest buyer at the moment. So there is a EMIT Pulse biggest buyer competition. So if you're in the EMIT Pulse pair, that's Rat Pulse, there is a buy competition. So if you get in there. So at the moment, there is a first prize is 100 EMIT tokens, which is $110 US, and the second prize is 50. So it's probably what $55, $60, something like that, $55. And then the third prize is an emitters NFT, which is about 1 million pulse. And we're going to look at that too, actually, because that's pretty cool. And they're selling out. They're definitely selling out. We're going to see how far they sold out, but they're definitely getting sold through. There's only 555 of those, and they give you a lot of influence in the ecosystem there. So we're going to talk about that. So kind of cool. And so yeah, I think there's been 5 so far. We haven't had an airdrop obviously since yesterday, which is probably a good thing because obviously trying to get the best value out of the protocol so that you don't have people selling an airdrop so much. A lot of people with airdrops are going into the protocol, but you always get some sellers, right? That's just the way it goes in the crypto there. And of course, pretty smart move. So that is the current price at the moment. I'm going to leave a link to the chart there if you guys want to pick some up and buy some and get in that that competition. That's definitely in there at the moment. So it's kind of cool. Good idea from Kairos there and the team. So that is the link there. And let's get into the protocol and see how that's going. So at the moment, we've got the price at $1.10. We've got the TVL at about just under 19,800. We've got the total supply there is at 99,586, and we got the burn amount is 553. It's got a pretty good burn rate actually. Now on the when you go buy this, it's got a 5% tax, so you probably need maybe 6% slippage or something like that, 5.5% or something, or maybe 5% even. You might get through with that, but you got a bit of price slippage here, so that's kind of where we are. We've got quite a few buys coming in at the moment. Look at that coming in, and the buys coming in. It's kind of neat, and so yeah, that was you probably have about maybe 5-6% slippage on that, so that you get that through. And of course, I would generally suggest using PulseX to do the buy as opposed to GoPulse or Proteus because that deals with tax tokens pretty well. The old PulseX is probably the one you want to use. So yeah, the burn's actually really, really good, right? So initial supply is 100,000. Now we only know about 10.5% was actually in the circulating really because the other 90.5%, at least yesterday, probably changed a little bit, but yesterday was about 90.5. It might have changed a little bit, but let's say 90-10, let's say, or something like that. But yeah, but buy and burn's going pretty well, and a lot of the supply is still in the team's main wallet, and some of the LP protocols, right? Market cap at the moment 111,000, which is pretty cool. I think we got up to maybe 175 or so, 180,000, maybe somewhere around there. So we're still really low market cap on this. Now the emission rate. So remember yesterday, emission rate was 3,188. Well, Kairos played a very cool ploy. This just shows you his experience, and he cut it down by 10x to 318. So that lowered the emission rate by about 10x, and that's a bit of a Richard Hart ploy there, isn't it? But that actually lowers, I guess, the sellability of the yield, makes this a lot more sustainable. Now, Kairos's point of view is that he's going to, reach out to a lot of communities and make this a longer-term, more sustainable farm as opposed to a short-term farm. So I think that's really exciting. And of course, he wants to build up a large community in Pulse Chain and so he's going to be doing lots of Telegram and X Spaces and things like that, and lots of other stuff coming up. So it's definitely worth getting into this community. He's got quite the vision, and he's got doing some fantastic decisions there. So pretty cool. Now, the EMIT farm at the moment, yesterday we had a 50x allocation, and of course we have no fee to enter that, so that's the EMIT Pulse pair, right? So the first step you have to do is you have to provide liquidity on PulseX, and that's a V2 farm, right? Remember, there's V1 and V2. V2 is where you provide liquidity. You can click the Manage button or this link here, and that will take you to the liquidity. You put your Pulse and your EMIT tokens in after you've bought EMIT, of course, or if you've got some for free airdrop or whatever, you can put it in there. And then you can start, you'll get LP tokens, and then you can come back here, approve those LP tokens, the allowance, approve those, and then, click 100% and you can stake them, right? Now, the one thing I would say is that if you are unstaking, you need to, I don't think the 100% button works, so you need to put the amount of tokens that you've got in there, put them in here, and then unstake them that way. So you got to do the approval and the unstaking there. So it's kind of the logic there. Now, at the moment, the APR is 621%. Now, there was a little bit of there was a calculation error on the launch there. So not the emission. The emission obviously was intentional, but there was an APR issue there, and it was showing at about, I think, about 75 to 80,000%. But of course, that was a calculation error. And so if you'd been in the farms, you'd seen that the rate was not as going as fast as you might expect. And so he had to go check that, and he did that pretty quickly after the launch, maybe within, I think, I'm just guessing, within the first 60 minutes or so. You can see it on Telegram. And they had a voice chat, on the live, and I went through lots of cool things that happening, as well as this issue that got identified. And so the yields seem to be accurate there now. So the 621% is the current APR at the moment, and that's pretty juicy, right? If you think about PulseX is like the farm, I think, farms down to pretty low levels. In fact, let's go have a quick look at the farm levels at the moment on V1. And we can see that the yields are pretty low now on here. So yeah, I mean, even PulseX at 0.4%. We got Hex Pulse at 1.2%. Ever since Richard Hart there, reduced the incentive token by 20x. We still got modestly good rates there for the Bridgeton stables and Pulse-Chain, between 10% and 5%. But as you can see, the high yield farm is really EMIT is the king of the hill right now, and the founder's pretty clever. So we're looking forward to some good stuff there. So 623%, that's the correct one there, and that's been updated, and of course good transparency there, and quick action by Coris, the founder there. And of course, these things happen from time to time. Now, EMIT incentive token there sitting at 119%, got a 15x allocation, and EMIT PulseX 15x with the 921%. So definitely PulseX there looking pretty good. Now, there is different TVLs in there. There's 10,500 in this EMIT farm here. So that means people putting liquidity in EMIT and Pulse is $10,500 worth there. EMIT Inc. is 2,700, and EMIT PulseX is at 2,400 at the moment. With those appropriate yields. Now, we also have the EMIT single side staking, and that is sitting at 802% at the moment. I think that is accurate. That's based on, it's actually got quite high TVL, 18,361. So a lot of people put their EMIT tokens in there. It's single sided, so it's just based on EMIT. And remember that on all the buys and sells in here, so we got volume of about 14,000. So that 5% is the tax. 4% is going to the buy EDI, right? I think it is, and 1% there is going to burn the EMIT token, right? So that's why we got this burn. So 1% of the tax goes and does the burn. That's why it's pretty high, right? That's a pretty clever move. And of course, we've got 4% that is going to. We've got 4% that is going to the buy EDI, which is a clever move. It's got some really good balancing things here. I just think it like a game. It's a bit like balancing, and it takes experience to be able to do this sort of thing. And I think he's done a great job there. We saw when Vox launched, we saw it doesn't have a lot of these balancing features, which is quite neat. So people are earning EDI in there, and I think it's pretty decent, just sitting in there earning EDI day after day after day. It's not bad on 4% of the tax volume. Going through. Now, obviously, the higher the volume, the more tax you will have. It's just a normal thing. It's just going on. Now, the one thing we did see also overnight was the fact that the allocation went down from 50x to 45 on the EMIT Pulse farm, and the reason is because they launched 2 peers. This happened. I just found this out when I woke up this morning, and we can see that we've got the DAI Pulse peer. So these are non-EMIT peers, right? And then we've got Pulse X peers here as well. So we've got incentive token, Pulse X, and they've got a 1% fee in them, unlike these EMIT peers, which have got no fee to enter and exit. So it's kind of cool. Just note that you'll lose 1% principal there. They've got a 3x allocation, a 3x allocation. So it's not quite 5x, but it is a bit of sharing there. And they've got 3x and 3x there. And I think the other ones are 15. Yeah, they're not changed. So these two here were 15 and 15, so they're not changed. And so we're sitting at 577% there on the yield and 112% on the incentive PulseX yield. They seem to have $761 in the DAI Pulse pair and 3,900 in the Ink PulseX pair at the moment. So these are in V1. So these are V1. There's no difference. So they're PulseX V1. So remember that when you go farming here, the main farms here for Richard Hart are all V1s. See, they're all V1s. So people put liquidity in the V1 pairs as opposed to, we go to the farms there. We go to info tab. We can see V1 farms and V2 because there was an issue, right, with the V1 there. And so V2 is where people are getting fee sharing, right? As you earn the share of the fees. And of course, you can bring that over into the farm and farm that. So just note the V1, V2 difference there. Kind of cool. What else? I think that was kind of it on there. Now I want to go over to the NFT because the NFTs have been selling out pretty well. So we're at there's only 555, and remember this is kind of a long-term vision project. It's going to have lots of other things in it as it evolves, and it's got 241 so far. So there's going to be 555. So they're almost halfway, aren't they? Almost halfway through selling these. So if you want to pick one of those up, they're only $1 million each. And of course, if you've got the community airdrop in Telegram, that you say you get 5 points in there. If you've got 5 NFTs, that's 5 plus 5 is 10. And that gives you a bit more of those airdrops coming up. Remember, about 15% of the initial supply is going to airdroppers, and there's still about 10 of those at least are left. So that's going to give you more percentage share having NFTs. And of course, it also helps with other benefits as well. We can see some of those benefits down here. Gives you 0% deposit fees. So if you're in that farm, that Pulse, incentive PulseX farm, that would give you zero fees. You wouldn't be paying any fees entering that, so you don't have that 1% fee. Also, DAO membership ability to create proposals and vote on proposals, and also each NFT hold acts as an airdrop multiplier. Upcoming airdrop, which I talked about, so an additional, actually, it's a bit of probably additional multiplier there. So if you had 2 points in the community airdrop, and you had 5 NFTs, that would be 7x multiplier there, or at least a 7x on the share. Actually, probably could be worded a little bit differently. But that's kind of play. Now the max is per transaction is 10 NFTs. Now, obviously, let's have a look at the DAO because the DAO is actually pretty kicked on pretty cool. And I like this aspect, the fact that we've already got 2 proposals in here. One is to add dark meme coin to staking farm. Which is kind of cool. That's a small community there and get airdrops there. So we might see extra airdrops coming. So if you're in the Telegram in your community, this might be one way that they do those airdrops. I'm not sure how they're going to do that, but that could be one way they just airdrop them, which is they're already doing that, right? There's like 4 or 5 tokens that they're already airdropping to people in Telegram. So there's this cool community airdrop list, and it's well worth getting on there. So that alone is a good reason to participate in this community. And I think Kairos is just a super smart guy. A lot of experience and doing a pretty good job overall, right? The other one, of course, is proposal 2, add Neon by Nexion LP. So I'm going to actually probably do a lot more on Nexion coming up. So hold the space for that. And they've been doing their own innovative protocols on Pulse Chain. So I'm going to get into that. And they've got this proposal here to add Neon by Nexion to the LP and Neon there. So we're going to have a look at that too. And they currently got a lot of votes there. So both of them actually got positive votes in favor at the moment. Now, these things run for 3 days and are kind of additional at this stage to the farms that Kairos, the founder, is putting in, right? So not too bad. In fact, it's quite nice to see. We've got a nice little green hourly there, $1.13. So is $1.05 going to be the low for the next cycle? We'll see how that goes. But certainly the yields are pretty damn attractive. So, we've covered the farm, we've covered the NFT, we've covered the DAO. The other thing I would like to say is check out the blog because they've always put some good blogs in here. I think it's a really good communication devices. So really been enjoying that. Now, the other thing that we're probably going to see coming up from the team is, further, roadmaps. Some of them will be short-term things. Some of them might be long-term things, like other projects and things like that. They're going to benefit this farm and other things in the community. And of course, it's going to be pretty vibrant. And of course, also a lot of maybe end up being pretty pivotal pulse chain communications as well from this team. Chorus has got a big vision about that. Building out really good value for the community and building out the community that's involved in good value rather than just drama and all the others carry on that goes on, that people are in there. So that's kind of where we're at the moment. So that is a summary of that. Let me post the link to the farm, of course. You guys want to check that out. So this is the EMIT farm. And yes, so we've done pretty good coverage of that this week. And it's been, fun to talk about it because I think it's one of the, when there's so much, negative markets, it's always good to get something that's actually doing some good stuff out in the protocol there with a very, smart dev that's, leading the way there with a bit of a proven track record as well. So kind of cool. That is the link to EMIT Farms. So what I would suggest is, join up to Telegram and get involved. Get on that community airdrop list. Hit up Kairos, get involved. If you type /link, and once you get in there, you can actually get your own referral link to the Telegram, and that will be look like this one. And you can invite people there as well. So it's just about growing the community, really. And also your engagement gets recognized, and you get on that community airdrop list. Kind of cool. And I think there's going to be a pretty bright future for this project team and ecosystem there. Now, we had a question up here. Let me just jump back up here. We got Only Crypto. Says, just curious on what farms you think would be the best thing, EMIT. And EDI is paying high APR. Well, obviously, that's a pretty good farm for the plant your EMIT, and you're earning those fees from volume. And 4% is pretty good. It seems like a good idea to get in that over the other ones, so that when you claim, yeah, I mean, you can always do a bit of divestment, like maybe 60%, 40%, or 50-50. That's a good way of diversity play is always a pretty good idea. But the APRs are probably going to vary from time to time. We may say a lot more EMIT go into that stablecoin, but at the moment, that's definitely doing pretty well. So you could just park there for the time being and just adjust your portfolio according to the APRs potentially. But the PulseX one's looking not too bad. Is that the PulseX is at 972%, so that's actually higher than the stake EMIT, which is 794. But then of course you have the impermanent loss issue around EMIT versus PulseX. If PulseX is EMIT's going up, then you're going to get more PulseX. EMIT's going down versus PulseX, then you're going to get more EMIT, right? So you just have those issues. That's kind of the logic there. And of course the relative prices, US dollar prices. All right, good question. What else? Like I say, there is a buying competition in Telegram at the moment, and there are rewards in for that. So you can definitely get it once you get into Telegram. Check those out. There are just you won't have to scroll too far up there to see that as well. And I like the buy bots, and actually they have buy bots and it shows you the buys that are going through as well. Right, so that's pretty cool. Let me just check over on Rumble. I see everyone's going over there. A big shout out to everybody over Rumble there. So right, let's move on. So that is our EMIT coverage today. And of course, we're going to keep tabs on this farm from day to day. So that should be fun too. Only Crypto says, so lower risk would be to go into the EMIT and EDI. Yeah, you're not facing the impermanent loss issue yet. But you may see a lot more EMIT go in there over time. So you probably see the yield possibly move below some of these other farms is my guess. So that's kind of where we are there. And of course, the price of EMIT is going to be very important as we move forward. But I think the balancing features have definitely increased the chances of that will hold up. And of course the future roadmap. So just keep on to all those sort of factors from day to day. All right, so that is the EMIT farm and PulseX there. Let's jump away from there. Now I'm quickly going to go through Titanix. How are we doing for time? 48 minutes. So Wookie's looking at me out there somewhere. We're up to 45 minutes, just past that, 48. We're going to wrap up here pretty quickly. So Titanix is also down. So we're talking about Pulse Chain ecosystem generally being down, apart from the more speculative plays, but Titanix is also trying to find the bottom. So we're at 10 zeros at the moment, 7,500. And of course, all the buy and burns are turned off, and so the market's like, oh, turn them on, but they've not been turned on. So you can blame the architect for that. We're at 6 zeros, 13.75, and we'll go to the wrapped ETH because this is kind of the main one. We're still on the wrapped ETH ratio, so Titanix to wrapped ETH is still holding up okay, and we haven't capitulated all the way down to the all-time low, which was 10 zeros, 5,000. We're now at 10 zeros, 7,500 at the moment. That's kind of where we are on that. So it's holding. it's holding there on the ratio. Now, all the buy and burns, Titan-X, Dragon-X, Hydra Hyper, all turned off. Dragon-X ratio, it's holding up pretty firmly at 7x. So 7 Titan-X to 1 Dragon-X. We're waiting for Shogun to go Omni-Chain. At the moment, the ratio is pretty low, 0.78. We want that to flip, right? We want that to flip, which means we need this Omni-Chain strategy built out. Now, obviously, Jake's been sharp's been doing that for about the last 2 months. He's recently come back to social media. The only complaint I have is that one of the principles of Titan-X is to marketing, and we did not see that over 2 months. So that's the only criticism I would have there in particular. Obviously, the buy and burns are turned off, but it's just a tactical play in the current markets. We just don't know what he's going to do with the V1. Is he going to definitely hold it as a DAO, or is he going to wait for the bull market to really flourish? Is he going to use a little bit here and there? Anyone's guess there. Because at this ratio, you could burn a lot of Titan-X off, right? At the current ratio, if you turned on the buy and burn a bit. So it's a relative prey, right? Relative thing. So we shall see. Maybe he's going to do a bit when the Omni-Chain strategy comes out with AI agents and everything moving over to base and other chains. So we'll see. We'll see how he does that. The other thing, of course, is what else? We've got Hyper and Dragon. It's all pretty much minted out, waiting for those to go up. So imagine all the buy and burns going up on all these. Man, this thing would turn around in a heartbeat, right? So it's going to be pretty cool. Now, Vault, of course, had Bitcoin Genie come out. So white paper, haven't gone into that yet. I need to do that. So it's on my plan there. Morpheus is going Omni-Chain with the V3 DEX. What else is quickly here? I'm trying to go quick so I don't go too long on the show. Element 280 is going Omni-Chain. Tinkt Farm at the moment, 2 cents. Something's green here, isn't it? Phoenix is green. It's up 9.8%. That's not too bad. So it's also mixed a little bit. And so on. So everything's kind of just chill pill here at the moment, and waiting for Titan-X to do the runner. And of course, the stable coin from Orobro is still stable, just under $1 there, and looking pretty good. And what else is that? Genie, we got the white paper. I've got to go through that. That's something I have to do. And Taurus, of course, we're looking forward to that launching as well. So some cool stuff there. All right, that was our show. Now, I was trying not to be too long today, so hopefully I wasn't too bad. And big shout out to Koros and the EMIT team. A really cool farm amidst a down market, and so it's pretty cool to see yields of 700 to 900% sitting on there. And I love some innovations. Cutting back the inflation 10x was probably a good idea. What is the single side staking there, earning EDI? Really great idea. The DAO's a great idea. Got some cool pools sitting there, something for everybody as well. So kind of neat. All right, we'll keep you abreast of that. And currently there's a buy competition inside, buying EMIT competition inside the Telegram, so you can check that out too. All right, take care, everybody, and I'll catch you on the next one. Wookie's got the old screen faces there. Pretty crazy for sure. All right, I'll catch you guys in Telegram, and see you in Discord. Links to our community Discord in the video description. Only $12.50 a month to join, become part of our community as we watch Pulse Chain and the rest of crypto in the bull market that's coming ahead of us. All right, take care. Bye for now, and I will see you in the next one. I'll probably do another video later today, so stay tuned.